Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Captain's Pod, a podcast and streaming show where Ian Whittington, the captain, has trouble with the ambassador Danae, who is an ancient being that walks the halls of the ship in a strange cameo appearance with little flu legs. How'd I do?
Are we redoing the intro? Yeah, no, you did great. Were you
Thank you.
describing
Thank
my
you.
life?
I feel like
episode?
that was a little both probably.
Nice.
I feel like you get to introduce the actual show, and then I can introduce the live show.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna get you to introduce the actual episode this week.
Are you really?
Yeah, 100%. I can't be bothered.
No, you're not.
I haven't written anything. I can't be asked. It's so weird.
Okay.
So, chat. We had
okay.
International things are bullshit. Okay.
We've had some troubles.
We've had some troubles. So, Encounter at Farpoint, I've only ever watched as the whole 90-minute shebang. On Paramount Plus in the UK, it's split into 2 parts. And I was like, okay, that's great. That works out well. No. Danae's version in America is not. It is the 90-minute version, which starts with the opening, the opening credits. So Danae is like, this music is giving me chills. It's so good. And I think she's talking about the score and carries on talking about it for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, are you going to talk over the whole episode? Like, Picard is talking right now. And she's like, no, he's not. No, he's not. This is the opening credits. So it's really wonky which way they did it. Yes. So we overcame that and we got past it. And we had to just pick a point that was kind of roughly halfway through.
We made it. We made it work. We did fine.
We made it work.
I love catching. So when we start the show, I love catching up on the chat because you guys have been talking before we're even live. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just vamp for me. I gotta go get a Vice.
Oh, she actually does have a Vice. I think I have one too somewhere. I don't have it to hand, but I'm interested what kind of visor she's gonna pull out. Like, we're talking poker visor, but I'm wondering if she's gonna pull out like just a hairband and put it across her eyes. But yes. So actually, the that's what I thought the end point was going to be as well. But it's actually after that when Q appears on the view screen, Worf shoots him or attempts to, and then disappears. That's close enough. That'll do it. Look at that. That is the most beautiful visor I've ever seen.
A legit visor from the 80s.
That's amazing.
That my aunt decided to come by with a whole bunch of hats for Iris to wear.
I've seen this box of hats.
Well, this was in the bottom, and I was like, holy shit, this is epic.
Amazing.
This is the most trip to Florida's in the 90s hat I've ever seen. So here,
isn't that going to magnify the sun into your eyes?
You know, I questioned that as well, but you know what? We're going to wear it today. I told you I was going to do it, so here we go. Does it match my outfit? No. Does it match any outfit? Also, no.
No, that doesn't match anything at all. It doesn't. You could have a top that had the same pattern as that. It still wouldn't match.
Oh, yeah. And it's also that's like amazing. A little wonky. Like, I feel like it's not quite even, but that's fine.
It's okay. It's okay. I think it works.
Yeah, it definitely needs more rollerblades. You're not wrong about that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in the chat earlier was from Josh, who came in, said hi, and then had to go about live. So not here with us live, but said, I would like to like it known that it is Ian month on Discord.
Yeah,
and I changed my name to Josh Zero Love for James Kirk in his honor.
That's fine. And you can love misogynistic bastards that are horrible role models to people. That's up to you. You love who you love. That's fine. That's fine. You will be judged.
I feel like judge is just a really strong one in this episode.
Yep, it really is. You will be judged. We're going to be damned. Let's be damned for what we truly are.
For those that don't know, on Discord, you guys flip months. So sometimes it's like
go on, try and explain it.
Dicer's month, and so people change their username to something Aaron Dicer related.
Like
sometimes it's Danae related, right? Yeah. So it's Februarian. Februarian is what it is.
Februarian. Yeah.
We love that you guys do that.
It's the best. It's so fun.
You guys are amazing. Quick stop. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Quick stop in to say hi. Can I treat you all, Elysian?
No, Badgie. You're not teaching us any lessons. No. And Master, have you seen my hat? Look at the hat. Look at the hat with a little enterprise on it. Look at that.
I just got like a little email from like one of the companies that I sometimes have used to purchase marketing material for, and they're having a sale on stickers, and I'm like, I wonder if I should get some Centerprise stickers. So
Do it. Let's get some stickers.
from the future.
Hello to the trooper in Australia. That's amazing. 5:30 a.m. That is the best time to watch Star Trek.
Yeah. Wouldn't you say though that all time is good to watch Star Trek?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Good catch. Yeah. Very, very true.
I am so needing this coffee right now. I'm so loving this coffee.
I feel it.
I'm just like, we're just sucking on coffee while talking to you guys. Hope you don't mind. Thanks for coming by.
Just get that straw. Get that straw.
Thank you, Phantom King. I love you guys so much. Keep going. You guys inspire a lot of people. Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We'll pass it on to the entire team. As Ian and I are only 2 of 7 of the people that create the CinemaSins content.
2 of 7.
And I really appreciate it.
Am I 3 of 7? Or am I
I'm
6
7
of
of
7?
I'm 7 of 7. Wait.
No. I think you're like 4 of 7. Anyway, I thought they were little unicorns, but they're little phantoms. I love it. That's awesome.
I also need a sticker.
Stickers. We want stickers.
Get stickers just for Baby Slabs. She loves. Here's the thing: we can't actually like sell them because we can't sell directly.
Yeah,
we can't directly sell our own merch.
It's so
we have
dumb.
to do it through a third party. So if I get these stickers, I might be like, send me a prepaid envelope with your address written on it, and I'll just return it in the mail with a sticker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something simple like that. Maybe we could do.
Capitalism is failing us. Like we want to sell things, but we are struggling.
It would cost us more to sell it than it would to just buy stickers. You know, it's just weird. It's weird.
100%.
Okay, well, we'll wave to Link. Hi, Link.
Hi, Link. Hi, Link.
You want a pin? Like an enamel pin? Those would be so rad. If we did like really little.
It would probably cost $50 each.
Here's a question we can answer before the show starts. Ian, is there going to be a movie or show being reviewed at Cinweek for Captain's Pod?
Man, there are 2 battling options for Captain's Pod live show at the minute. Both will be available to the public eventually. They'll be available on Patreon on the Sin Club first. But one is really, really ambitious. One is a safer bet. And I am yet to commit to which one we're going to go for. But the answer is it will be a show.
He is debating. He's got a really ambitious idea that I love.
Yeah.
But that could be something that even if we don't do it for Sin Week, we could do it here on Twitch together.
Yeah, it will happen. The ambitious idea will happen at some point. It's whether I can pull it off for Sin Week, but we will see. But the less ambitious one is to review one of the movies, because that's pretty easy to get all 7 of us to do that.
Give us your address real quick. All right, Zinc. It's P.O. Box 881, Republic, Missouri 65738. Now, this is technically going to be addressed to Behind the Sins because that's our local P.O. box here in Missouri.
Wow,
we also have a CinemaSins
taking over the BTS.
We also have a CinemaSins P.O. box that is in Nashville, but I wouldn't be able to get that but once every quarter. So if we send it to the one here in Republic, then I can get to it. So if you actually want it.
We're about to get a lot of envelopes sent to us.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah. That's what you would do. Behind the Sins, P.O. Box 881, Republic, Missouri 65738.
Nice.
And if you need to remember that, I think it might be on our website. Let me check that while you go to the next comment.
Link, I watched both episodes together since it wasn't separate when I watched it at. That just means you're ahead for next
week. That's how mine is. Mine was all one.
It's just an American thing. It's so in the UK, it's been split into 2. It's very, very strange. I imagine it's what they had to do with the BBC. I imagine that they couldn't get that 90-minute time slot. So they probably did split it into 2 episodes. And then there's a legit to be continued at the end of my episode, which I've never seen before. So the Q disappears from the view screen. Picard says, if we're going to be damned, let's be damned for who we truly are. and then it goes to the external shot of the Enterprise around Deneb, and that's it. And then it's like to be continued. The least dramatic
There's no
ending.
to be continued in it though. It just
Not for you, but there is for
no.
me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on my version there is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting.
It's a PO box sync. We're also a public company, so
yeah, we have a PO box. Yeah, it wasn't there wasn't literally Danae's address.
I did not give you my address. That's a PO box. So
no, we gave you Aaron Dice's address.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it is at the website cinemasins.com/BTS.
Mm-hmm.
That is where it lists our PO box, our local PO box. So if you do want to send me an envelope that has a something that already has your address listed on and it's got the stamp on there, I will order some stickers today and I will get those. And then, yeah, if you guys actually want something, I'll just send it to you. Amazing. How about that? How about we just send stickers?
Let's just send, because we love people. Let's just do it.
But I have to order them today.
Cinweek should review the Star Trek porn parody. The YouTube version has the porn scenes removed. I have so many questions. Like, why would you watch it without the porn in it? Because no one's there for the story. To be honest, let's be fair. At what point do you think that's a good idea in front of a live audience? Like, you do not want to sit there and watch 7 people talk about porn. You just don't. Believe me, you don't.
Believe me, I've tried. Believe me. Multiple friend groups, and it always gets awkward.
It always goes the same way. I mean, this hat is a great example of why merch is annoying as well, because this is the only one that exists. This is the prototype, and it probably won't ever see the light of day because merch is hard. Sad face. We have a better chance of selling that hat than we do this hat.
Probably.
Yeah.
This is a great authentic hat that came from a period of time that, like, you just don't usually find good condition merch.
No. Literally tens of them would have been sold, and that's one of the few surviving.
Thank you, Aunt Joyce, for being so meticulous with your hat saving.
Fuck yeah.
Slab reminds everybody, make sure you put behind the sins on the envelope and not the names. Sent something last year and got it sent back because I put Danae's name on it. You will at least get it at Cinweek at this point. Oh my God, no, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened.
At least it made it back to you.
You know what? I need to update the website to have that. Update website to have to address to behind the sins.
In reference,
you like it care of.
In reference to the porn parody, it's actually pretty good. I have watched it without the porn, and it's pretty faithful to Trek. Calling bullshit, Nick. I'm so sorry to out you. Bullshit. I'm calling shenanigans. You have 100%. Right, and Zinc Stoke's just going to out themselves. Is that the one with April O'Neil as Troy? Yes, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I'm going to put some music on, see how that feels. Let's put some.
Wait, what kind of? Are we getting some? Bam, 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 I can't keep up with that pace.
Hey, welcome to Captain Pod, where we're gonna change some tires and some oil.
Ma'am, I'm here to fix your spring regulator.
Don't make me get my gun. Sorry.
No, it's not that kind of porn.
Oh, okay. Wait, we're doing a porn? No.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were bringing the music in for.
No, I was not even paying attention to this conversation about porn. God damn it! Oh my God. Oh my God. I wasn't intending that. Oh. I have the most awful track record of making things even more awkward, like accidentally. It's so frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. I love it.
Okay, well, we're gonna start the show soon in just a second. I hope so.
We are. Let's do it. Let's go. I got a movie to watch.
Is season 1, episode 1, and called don't judge me. It's called Encounter at Weird Place.
Close.
So we'll start the show. And you guys know the whole bit, but here's the
kit and caboodle.
Do you want to do this part since I'm apparently doing the intro?
Yeah, ask us questions, send us shit. We probably won't react to it into the chat or in the show. Or today we'll just randomly start interacting with it in the show and work it in and start answering questions. You did that last week. You did that. I did it the week before. So yeah, if anybody joins in part way through and wonders why we're not talking to them, hey, forget about it. Just tell them that we'll talk to them at the end of the show. All right, forget about it. You know what I mean? Take them. Take him. Forget about it. Pew, 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 pew. This hoodie has put me full stream mode. Like, pew, 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 pew. And yeah, you know, guys, chill. We'll get to it at the end of the show. Just chill. It's fine. You got questions? We got answers. Okay? Tell them Mickey sent you.
This is so wrong.
You're just like blocking out the screen.
Oh, Jesus. What is wrong with us? We're so distracted.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, questions after the show. It's fine. Just tell people. Tell people that we're not
people,
ignoring them.
Let them know.
We'll do questions after the show.
Do the thing.
We're doing ask me the things. Cool. Right, let's go. Forget about it. Woo! Captain's Pod, start 8. No, I've done that. It's not that bit. Every time.
No, you can if you want to. I'm sure they would love it.
I've done it. Welcome to the Star Prize. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first. What would you like from the replicator?
Well, I have a sneaky suspicion that whatever it is that I want isn't going to be available, but then I turn and then suddenly it is available. So I'm going to say that I want a pumpkin spice latte, but it's not really what I want, you know? And then I turn around and it's actually apple cider. And that's actually what I really wanted. And I'm going to think, was that apple cider there all along? You know?
You just won't know. And you'll almost dismiss it until you try and buy a rug. And then the rug is perfect.
It's perfect, but it doesn't cost $20,000, which makes it even more perfect.
Right. I would like an ice cold Tasha Yar, please.
Jesus!
She got snow cone.
Oh my God.
She got white. She got dusted in this episode.
You want a dead person?
I just want her on ice. That's all. Just nice and frosty.
Moving
on. Right, this week, we're going all the way back to episode 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Danae, give us a synopsis. Jesus. What happened in this episode? In part 1 of this episode.
Okay. In this episode, the entire world is introduced to a brand new crew of people. And it believes with all of its heart that what will make it stand out more than any show that you may have ever seen is that it takes the ship and makes it 2. But wait, it takes the 2 and makes it 1 later. Will the crew be able to tell a random alien creature that people are good, humans sucked and still do, but not that bad enough? Well, that's what the show is getting close to telling us, but then it stops. Because we don't know Picard yet, but he's going to have a speech. Also, in this episode, the appearance of security guards wearing recycled material and doing drugs.
It took me a second to work out where you were going, Matt. Yeah. Cool.
Missing from this episode, Riker's beard. Correct.
Nowhere to be found. Yeah, pretty good. We're introduced to the Enterprise D and a brand new crew of the Enterprise. An alien shows up and says, "Y'all be bad." And Picard's like, "Yeah, we're not quite as bad as we were, but cool, test us." And we see characters. The ship breaks up, goes back together. End of episode.
Yeah, this episode is like setting up like, let's make this major theme of our new show that we're going to stand apart from humanity in this way. And it's like this really central theme. So it's kind of like a pretty serious start to a show.
Super duper serious. Overall thoughts and feelings. What were your instincts on this half of an episode?
I'm bored. Oh, yeah. I'm so bored. No,
it's a rough one.
It is a bit rough, but it's also interesting to kind of like see them lean into what they think is interesting. Which is
what it was going for.
A lot of intense staring, a lot of techno conversation, a lot of pushing buttons,
Mm-hmm.
and just completely skipping over things that we actually find interesting. Like
Mm-hmm.
when Geordi is introduced, it's just like glossing over that so fast. Um, and when I was most engaged in the potential story is when the mystery of this Farpoint station just starts to be sprinkled in because we're watching the first half. And the
Mm-hmm.
first half is largely dedicated to this Q character showing up and saying humanity are savages and I don't want you on this in the neck of the woods, so go back to where you came from, kind of a thing. And so then he puts him on trial. So we're seeing a lot kind of happening, maybe too much happening, honestly, but it's really confident in certain parts of it that I found to
Mm-hmm.
be like really fascinating. And there's sounds I don't remember hearing in episodes going forward that are there a lot. When they're in the warship part,
The battle
which I
bridge.
will call the
The
slug.
Star Drive.
It looks
Not the
like a little
slug.
slug.
It
It
doesn't look
does.
like a
It
slug.
does. When the saucer
Oh,
is
you're
taken off, it
killing
looks like
me.
this little slug in space and it's adorable, but
Killing
it's like a
me.
killer slug. But when they're in that section and they're pushing all the buttons of the panels, it's
Mm-hmm.
making noise. There's noises like pressing button noises that I don't remember
Yeah, it's
ever
like a
being there.
mechanical click, click, click.
Yeah.
Yeah, very different. Yeah.
So that's kind of fun in a way because it's like I don't think that carried on. And you're seeing the dynamic between the people, and I think it's like what is everyone going to find interesting? And
Mm.
the conversations between them seem to both lack substance and be too complex all at the same time. It's really interesting because they make these really huge leaps into what a Star Trek audience is going to find normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like Deanna Troy's first lines, like "I'm sensing something powerful." Like, okay, well that's interesting, and then we don't really expand on what that
No,
is
just
or
bam, he
why.
turns up. The
She's
powerful thing
just
arrives.
like, oh, I guess she can like predict the future. So we kind of gloss over stuff, but then they do some things that I really enjoyed with the character introductions. I think they did a really good
Mm.
job because you can tell Worf's intensity, you can tell
I
Riker's
am a Klingon.
intensity.
To
Yeah,
run in terror when my captain faces battle is dishonorable.
yeah. There was a lot of captain-centered conversation too. Like, how
Yeah.
is Riker gonna? Everybody's kind of like coming in line for this captain. Even Tasha thinks
Mm-hmm.
she steps out of line and she's back in line, and everyone's kind of like it's really leaning towards this is how you're supposed to do it because you're captain of a ship, sort of the order of things, which makes sense as the first show.
Way more
Uh,
formal than what we're used to.
very formal, very very formal. And then there's Data, whose first appearance is showing us that he's android, and he turns into a thesaurus. And I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
only time I laughed this episode was when Data was like Snoop, sneak, da 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 da. And he kind
Right.
of kept going. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty clever. So yeah, I think it was good. I think it was good.
It's
It was a
it's a
lot.
it's a fascinating episode to me. It's not one of my favorites by any means. It is it is damaged by how good Star Trek TNG becomes later on. It is damaged because we want every single episode to be this family that we know and love so much, the interactions that we know, the dynamics that they have. So to go back to episode 1 where they don't have it yet,
Yeah,
it's so jarring. And like
it
Picard is
is.
just 100% a dick to Riker. He's just
I
like,
don't
I'm going to
know.
test him. Yeah, okay.
I don't know if
Because
he's a dick. He's just
he's
not.
playing a game is more what I mean.
He's more confident in his superiority, and usually you don't see that part of his personality,
Mm.
or they just downplay it later.
Yeah, and I think a good chunk of this is Patrick Stewart not knowing how long
I
he
don't
was going to
know.
be
I
doing
mean,
this for.
how else would you perform that if it's written that way, though?
Yeah, but the word, I guess a lot of it could come with the direction as well. But maybe they
Because
were predicting this English Shakespearean actor was going to be really, really strict, really, really firm, and he softens up as it goes on a lot more than I think maybe they expected. But I know the way Gene Roddenberry always described it was that Riker, if you put Riker and Picard together, that makes Kirk. He split Kirk into two people and made them the first officer and the captain of the ship.
Yeah, I guess
That's what he was
I can
going
see
for.
that. But when Riker comes on and he's like, "So tell me, like, welcome aboard, but tell me about this time that you directly disobeyed your captain's orders and
Mm.
why." And I think that's probably a good question to ask.
Yeah.
And it kind of digs into where Riker's line is, like, "I will obey your orders until you put your own self in harm's way."
Hmm.
And then Picard quickly pivots into the Picard that I think we know, which is
Yeah.
the, "Okay, cool, I'm fine with that. Also kids."
Yeah.
Ding. So
I
so
hate
that was fun.
kids. Don't like. You got to make sure I'm cool. Okay, are we cool? Make sure I look cool. What's
I
interesting?
Oh, good.
No, what's interesting about the uh no, it's gone. Oh yeah, what's interesting about Picard bringing up the disobeying his captain's orders is that in season 7, there's an episode where Picard is talking to another captain, and he's like, why did you pick Riker?" And he says, "This is why I picked Riker, because he read that report and saw that he disobeyed an order to protect his captain." So you find out in season 7 that's why he picked Riker. So
Well,
it's really
that's what I
cool.
thought. I was
Yeah.
like, he sees something interesting in that, and then Worf, like it's in. I felt like Picard in this episode would very easily be interpreted as the captain that knows what he's doing, trusts his people, but wants them to comply according to what he wants. Because
Mm.
like Tasha apologized for kind of speaking out of order, but then later like attacked somebody, and that was cool, I guess. And then Worf does something and then apologizes for being out of order. And that's where I
Mhm.
was confused. I'm like, I didn't realize that they were out of order, but the show is telling me that they're out of order. So there's probably some sort of system here that exists that they're not following directly, or
Yeah.
they're forcing tension to show that he's a strict captain or that he expects excellence or something. And I didn't quite know what the show was going for because I don't understand
So
the
this
rules, essentially.
this happens a lot in season 1. There's almost this TOS hangover because the original series was way more military. Like it was way more like we're basically in the Navy. So you will and they use a lot more Navy terminology like yeoman, and he now can't remember any terminology, but it was way more like based on the military. So it was really, really strict, really regimented. You've signed on to Starfleet, you're in a branch of the military. The mission was still exploration, but it was very, very strict. And
Hmm.
season 1 kind of feels a little bit the original series in that respect, and it loosens up a lot as the series goes on. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're still kind of in that. Well, this is how we did it 18 years ago. We
Yeah.
want something that's kind of familiar, but also new as well. Like you
And
got to explain what's changed over 80 years.
maybe that's why there was a lot of, I think there was probably 17 entire minutes of everyone just describing what warp they were at.
No,
You know?
damn it! I will not have that. That is the best part of Star Trek. We're at warp 9.6, 9.7. We can get to 9.8, but at extreme risk.
And then
That's the shit I want for my Star Trek.
and then it just shifts, and I'm pretty sure the next one is like the bad guy behind us is at 9.8. And,
Yeah.
and then the next one for the ship is, okay, we're at 9.6. Like, I thought we were already past 9.6. Oh,
This episode, like considering, I mean, it really is an episode of 2 parts. Like part 2 is Encounter at Farpoint. Part 1 is Encounter with the Enterprise. Because
yeah.
this is all about showing off the Enterprise, dipping
Yeah.
into a little bit of who the crew is, but mainly this is Picard and this is your new ship. Get settled in.
But there's really not a lot of settling because obviously some pretty weird stuff happens and they need to do a saucer separation. Listen, I don't remember in all of my TNG watching ever seeing that ever.
Okay. This
is my first time to see the saucer separation, and it seems pretty badass. It seems, and it's like we have a war section somewhere. I don't remember this at all. And this is in episode 1, and so you're like, "Oh wow, this is pretty rad." And then to know that I watched all of, and I'm like, "This
happens again."
Does it? Does it ever happen again?
I'm gonna save it for sins. I'm putting it in it's the biggest sin of the episode. Biggest
Okay.
sin of the episode. I want to talk about how awesome it is.
Okay.
This is so fucking ballsy. Like, they've been sat on this for ages because they wanted the Enterprise A refit to do this as well, but they couldn't find a logical way to put it into the Wrath of Khan, to put it into the movie. They wanted Kirk's Enterprise to separate and do this badass thing. So bless him, Gene Roddenberry, the absolute nerd, has been sat on this visual for so long, and I think he forgot about the rest of the episode and just went, "We're doing it. No excuses.
Listen.
The Enterprise D is going to separate. It will not have any bearing on the story, but it's going to look fucking cool."
I don't mind it. It might be my favorite part of the episode, to be quite honest with you, is that it is so boldly for a Star Trek fan. And for a first episode, it's not like welcoming in new people. It's like, you don't fucking get it, you can get the fuck out.
Yeah, fuck off. We're gonna play the theme music. We're gonna do a pan on Picard. We're gonna show you the entire undocking sequence from start to finish. You're gonna sit there for 90 seconds and enjoy it, and just enjoy the theme tune. It's fine. I love it. It is my favorite part of the episode.
It's like, oh, this is the most epic thing. But during the show, while the saucer separates,
it's the only time it happens.
It's alarmingly. It is the greatest nerd moment. It really
truly is. It's great. It's so ballsy just to play the theme music, pretty much start to finish again, and it's like bum 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 into the next scene. It's so jarring. It's just like, that scene could have been anywhere in the show because it doesn't transition well at all. It's just a big old, yeah, we know you like the ship. Here's the ship.
And then they the writers and Gene, and they're all like, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be fantastic. They finish like doing what they're doing. Like, you know what? I have an idea. Let's reverse image and do it again.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And so they do. And it's like,
Riker, put the ship back together.
It's hard because part of me wants to sin that because it, to me, pacing wise, it's like, this is Riker's big moment, is putting a ship back together. But maybe this is a big deal. This is the show is so confident in what it's doing, and the actors are so committed to what they're doing that I will abandon.
Just like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure you're going to do this manually? Okay, like if the android is freaked out,
the android is freaked out, which I didn't think was possible. And when the saucer is separating and we're watching it happen for 28 minutes, I think
about that, yeah, roughly,
and it's just bouncing around from like person's facial expressions to person's facial expression, I'm pretty sure that Deanna Troi was like, she's got the most beautiful, huge brown eyes. First of all,
well, they're completely black. They put contact lenses on her.
Oh my god, that makes sense.
And it just makes them look humongous against the white of her eyes. Yeah.
And so it's this huge contrast, and maybe it's her actual tears from having to wear the contact lenses. I'm not sure, but she looks terrified, concerned, worried, and also committed all at the same time, and her eyes are just getting glossier and glossier, like she's about to burst into tears. And I'm thinking, holy shit, this is really important. Like, this is dangerous stuff. And we're in an episode today, okay? If this episode were to be remade today, if Captain Picard said, we're going to separate the saucer section, and everyone was this terrified by it, happening at warp whatever 9.9, because there's such a huge, like, you have to do it perfectly or whatever Data had calculated.
In your brand new ship.
The next 10 minutes would be dedicated to the engineering team and everyone coming together to run all the tests to make sure that it works. And we would be seeing people like figure it out, and we'd be having technical conversation. This episode is just like, we're doing it. There's no conversation about how or
get it done.
It's just, they just go to the next room down the special entrance that I've never seen. I thought that was a toilet, but whatever. Like, because they went down in a different.
Oh no, the front one is a turbo lift. Yeah,
apparently we saw that.
It's the back left one is the toilet.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
No, it is.
I know. I've seen it on the schematics many times now because I keep looking at it like, hey, that is the toilet, right? And the duck room or whatever. But anyway, we go down and I don't know. That went so fast. That's the stuff I'm talking about. There's things that they just kind of gloss over that I'm thinking, no.
I want to get to the big swing. Yeah.
Well,
I'm not saying it's okay. Yeah, I'm not saying it's okay, but
the big swing for this episode, the drama big swing of this episode is the humanity on trial.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And I found that to be very boring. So
agreed.
Okay. All right.
It goes Q and all of his Q-ness goes somewhere interesting, but it is very in this episode, it's very preachy. It's very melodramatic, very over the top, very cheesy. But as a premise, it's fine. It's just got a 80s delivery on it.
Yeah. It's
like the whole of humanity being put on trial and the crew of the Enterprise having to prove them wrong is an interesting premise. But in this one episode, it's both not given enough weight and given too much pomp and ceremony. Yeah.
I feel like what it's doing is something that I find that a lot of shows do, which is sort of addressing the questions of the previous stuff. Like we're going to go into the next level of the show by kind of addressing what we want to address that we didn't get to answer from the last show. And so maybe all of the destruction and savagery of the human race that was on display that they thought in what they were previously creating, they're like, we want to start this next show answering this question right at the beginning as far as what sets us apart from the savagery.
Yeah, they had an agenda.
And I can understand that. And I actually don't mind it too much. It was just you can feel that they're all just kind of getting used to it. But at the same time, it was still fun to see everyone. Like, it was fun to see Tasha. And it's fun to see Worf not quite settled into where I know Worf to be.
Well, he was just basically an extra with a couple of lines. Like,
yeah,
I think the only reason that we get Big Worf is because Tasha leaves. Like, there wasn't really a spot for him. And LeVar Burton was big for having done Roots, I believe was the show that he did. And I think he started reading Rainbow at this point. And so he was the biggest, like the most famous actor to be cast. And he's barely in it. So they always had a plan for Geordi, but they didn't know exactly where he was going to be yet. Because he's not chief engineer yet. He's a helmsperson. It's really interesting.
I felt this about the South Star separation, and I felt this about Geordi LaForge's character too, and that is that a couple of really interesting things happened in this episode for me, the fan, that I don't remember like knowing or realizing. South Star separation, one, but two, that he's constantly in pain. I never knew that. Does that ever get resolved?
Headaches. Yes.
Thank God.
It comes up a few times, and it is fascinating. Like, it is really interesting to know that this gives him sight, but he has constant headaches. Like, it's just having an electronic device burrow into your neurons and he can have pain relief for it, but it hampers his vision. So he loses like 20% of his vision. So
or you can have brain surgery, exploratory and experimental brain surgery, I suppose.
It's pretty wild.
But I was like, I didn't know that. I wish I knew that to a certain degree, but also it's interesting that these are like little facts that maybe come up again later and I missed them because I wasn't paying like 100% attention, or I haven't watched it as much as anybody else, obviously. So maybe it's brought up again, but it just seems like such a brushed over thing that's really important.
It is, and it's that balance of it's the syndication thing. So you have to be really careful with those through plots, because if you have an episode where that's resolved and you know that Geordi isn't in pain anymore, when you watch an episode on repeat and it's out of order, you're like, oh, which one is this? Is he in pain yet? Is he not in pain yet? Yeah. So that's why they're always so superficial with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why you never get an episode where Data is like, I am now human. Because it would fuck up the rest of the show. He always has to have the same journey.
Yeah. Overall, I did enjoy it though. The pacing was strange, and I felt like because I trial shows and stuff, I don't usually get into like courtroom dramas.
What
we
a
had
weird
one
choice.
last episode that I really did not enjoy too much. So here we are, like again, sort of in another judiciary situation, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I think I know what they're going for is we're gonna prove that it's strange because when Q wants them to stand trial and sends them back in time to actually exist in this society that of course is I've never seen the society exist in content, so it looks like made up to me, but to them it's actual history.
Well, apparently it happens 8 years from now, so
okay,
get ready for that.
Yay. So we're in the situation like, okay, so they go back in time to stand trial in this very specific time period where Q reigns supreme as judge, jury, all that stuff. And then he also, but they're referencing all these different time frames and all of their own history and how, well, yeah, you can say this, but then whenever this thing happened in this time, then that undoes this. And then Q is just like, yeah, fuck that. I can do whatever I want. So it's like none of the conversations I can follow very easily. I mean, I can put context clues together, but I don't know where I'm supposed to dig in if Q can just do whatever Q wants. I kind of felt myself going like, well, get to the point then, because
this is a bit hopeless.
Who is this fun for? And maybe it's for the characters themselves to establish sort of
it's just for Q.
This world, but
inside the story, it is just for Q. This is a few of my sins are undone just by the answer because Q. Like he just likes to fuck with people, and I can see why that can be frustrating because why would you bother playing along if you can change all of the rules and you can? We said this in Picard season 2. If Q can just snap his fingers and undo everything, why are they playing along?
Yeah.
Why are they bothering to make any plans? Because he can just undo all of the plans, so they had to take his powers away.
And does Picard at this point know that because this is their first encounter with him? So he's trying to like fight for the state and fight for his crew and figure out how to conversely or through law establish that his crew shouldn't be held responsible for the crimes of an entire race. That's it. That's interesting, but what a heavy place to start a show.
And I think that's my biggest problem is that it's kind of burying the lead. Like this is maybe a good episode 2, but episode 1, you probably should have just introduced your characters. Like give them a mystery, give them something that brings them together. But let us get settled in. I know Q better than I know anyone else on the ship at this point.
And that's saying a lot because Q is confusing.
Because we still don't really know anything about him. Like, what a huge thing for us to focus on when we should be focusing on the show and the ship. So it's a really interesting, huge, big swing for a pilot. It's a
huge bad guy and a huge character to introduce in the first episode. It also was interesting to see the graphics design work of this episode, where we have like the fence type shield thing that pops up on screen.
It's so much more interesting than just a force field, isn't it? The grid work,
like the sort of interconnected locking weirdness,
like the lightning, the sound of lightning, like
it's really interesting. I liked that. And it kind of like it was almost like waving as if there was a breeze, but we're in space, so that's not exactly what was happening. And then he turns into a space marble. That was cool.
But why? But yes,
we don't know why.
No,
but he turned into a space marble just to travel and look badass. So we got to see all that and hear their little their babble back and forth and watch people walk around the bridge and shift seats as if they know what they're doing. And
they do.
And Captain Picard had a chance to tell everyone to stop
talking. Hear this.
And I was just like, wow, there's a lot going on. If this is the first day on the ship and everyone's acting this
Yeah, right.
casual. Wow.
Woof.
Wow.
I absolutely adore that sequence of the Enterprise. They're deciding that they're going to run. They're going to try and escape the Q energy field, and just like the view screen is slanted to show that the ship
Mhm.
is like doing a hard turn to the right, and it's just like just doing a 180 wheel spins and zooms off and then starts separating. And I love that. Like it just makes the little child inside me just go, yeah, spaceships, woo! It's a really dramatic scene, even if I don't understand the drama altogether. Like we accelerate so quickly into battle stations, let's run.
Yeah.
Without really knowing whether that's going to make a difference against this being that can just appear and perform magic, apparently.
Yeah, and one that appears as a captain of the sea first, and then a
Yeah.
war veteran, and then like so it's obviously very, very powerful.
Mm. Yeah, clearly.
So I think like if I saw this for my first episode that I ever saw, and I saw this episode, I I would be curious, and I think I would
Mm.
watch again. Um, it's just it seems like they're all having fun and they're taking it very seriously. And when you have a
Uh-huh.
show that gives that much to what they're doing, everyone's bought in. If one person was not taking it seriously,
Hmm.
I think it doesn't work as well. But everyone is like really in
It's
it, and
so
I really
confident.
appreciated that. On
It's
uh,
so
yeah,
confident. Yeah, I totally agree.
yeah.
Because it starts with like the Picard silhouette like coming towards. Well, I mean, first of all, it opens with the Enterprise, just the best starship reveal probably ever on TV. It's just bam,
Mm-hmm.
here's your new ship. It's beautiful, it's well lit. Take note, modern TV shows. You can see it, and then just this zoom into like Picard revealing himself, and then a glory tour of engineering and the warp core, and then a glory tour of the bridge. It's like they know exactly what we want to see
And then we
straight
saw it
away.
separate and go back together. You
Yes.
guys,
Ugh.
what a day.
It's low hanging fruit, but man, I was pumped. Fucking love this shit. So good. And then save the story for the second half because that's when the actual encounter at Farpoint happens. It happens 50 minutes in. We haven't even got to it yet.
The first part sprinkles in the mystery though pretty well, and
Yes.
it
Uh-huh.
seems very kind of like, okay, what is happening? Who has
Hmm.
the power here?
Yeah.
You have like the people that are on Farpoint are looking pretty haggard. They're
Hmm.
looking like they're drained. They're
Groplazorn.
feeling they're feeling very, oh my god, what are those creatures in Dark Crystal?
Skeksis?
The ones that they're
Eagles?
like sucking the life out of though. Do you remember?
It has been so long. I can't remember what they're
The
called. No.
Gelflings, right?
Gelflings, yes.
So the Skeksis like capture the Gelflings, and the Gelflings get like their energy sucked out, and then it
Hmm.
gives like life back to the
Like the
Skeksis.
sallowed eyes.
Yeah, they're like getting like these sallowy eyes, and they're looking
Yeah.
like really gaunt. And so I'm watching these people. I'm like, they're looking a little Skeksis Gelfling,
Hmm.
a little to me. So I don't know if
What's
there's
happening?
is there energy that's being like pulled from people to create
Mm.
reality, and
What does the
what's the
Groppler know? Because he knows something.
he does indeed. But that was really exciting for me. The mystery of that was really
Mm.
interesting. But I feel like there's so many people that would find the mystery of how do you think through who's responsible for the savage sins of your race. That would
Mm.
be very interesting for some people. So I think they threw out a couple big hooks.
Yeah,
Uh
they did. It's
along
super
with
bold.
some easy wins for Star Trek nerds like,
Yeah.
spaceship porn, which we saw a lot of.
There is an argument that you can cut this, and you can, into a 45-minute episode that removes Q and just does the encounter at Farpoint. You can absolutely do that, and it's probably a better pilot because, like I said, you've got the mystery that brings the crew together. It's just a typical Star Trek mystery that you get to the bottom of and whatnot. But they really wanted to introduce Q from
Mm.
day one because I think he appears in season 1 and 2 more than he appears the rest of the rest of the series.
Mm.
It's just probably a little bit too much, but I think maybe
It's good.
back in the 80s you just didn't have to worry so much. It's like we're spending a lot of money on this. We're going to get a couple of seasons, so let's go big.
The question I would ask myself is, who watches part 1 and is like, I cannot wait for part 2? And
Me.
did they do enough in part 1 to create that desire to come back and continue to meet these people? And there might be a little, so it's kind of like when you sit down at a table to play Dungeons and Dragons with your friends the first time, and you know that you are a cleric, but you don't know maybe all of the parts of your personality just yet as you're role playing. It kind of felt like, I know that I'm a betazoid, but I don't know what that means. Just like what kind of a person I am. I know that I'm a first officer. I know, and they had maybe one trait sort of thought through.
So and that trait, interestingly, with Deanna, is Gene Roddenberry said, "I need you to make up an accent," and she was like, "What do you mean?" Because she's from Liverpool originally, but moved to LA, and he was like, I need you to make up an alien accent. So you're going to be speaking English, but I need you to invent an accent." So she was just like, okay. So the trait she's focusing on is the voice that she's doing, which you'll see.
I didn't know she was doing a voice.
You might notice it more in part 2, where she gets a lot more to say, but her voice is very interesting. Like the delivery.
I didn't know she was
words.
Trying to do a voice.
Yeah,
or an accent.
She's
I
inventing
didn't know
an
she was
accent.
from Liverpool.
I'm sure it's Liverpool. It's somewhere in the north.
Okay. Well,
I'm sure it is.
I'm not going against you.
Yeah, I totally see what you mean by that. They haven't quite found who they are.
Can we focus on something more important, though?
Of course.
In this episode, we have scants.
Scants. The scants. Yes.
They were everywhere.
The unisex scant. Everyone gets one.
I remember you showing this to me the first time. Was it on this show? Or was it before we started this show?
No, it'll be on this show. Yeah.
And we were looking up pictures, and I was like, what is happening right now?
Scants. I want one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, their pattern exists out there somewhere. I think I remember we were looking up patterns for it too, like pretending like we would, as a crew, show up at a convention sometime with like CinemaSin scants everywhere.
I love scants and the big boots as well. I love it. It's beautiful.
I was linked on Twitter, I believe it was Twitter, to somebody that said that they have the boots that you can buy, Star Trek boots. That are from
Picard. Yeah.
From Picard. Because
was it Strange New Worlds?
They're like
anyway, it's one of them.
$500.
I know. It's so, and I was like, I could buy those.
So badass.
No. They're gorgeous.
So gorgeous. And you know that they're handcrafted, and it's just like, I can't buy them sight unseen. I need to put them on my body. To know if it's like, yes, this is a worthwhile investment. I would need to attend, probably to justify them, like 50 conventions or something.
Yeah, you'd have to know you're getting
that's asking a lot, you know?
They're so expensive.
They're so fucking sexy.
Sucks.
But those boots with the scant,
right?
Come on!
Let's go!
Let's go! Anyway.
Introducing the scant is beautiful.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Can I ask you a question?
Go, yeah.
So in this episode, we see people go down a lift into the engine room. The lift, by the way, is padded. If you look at it closely, that's just a mattress that they have on the back wall, I'm sure.
Really? Oh, I missed that. That's
I don't think it's actually a mattress. It just looks like, when the lift is coming down, it just looks very mattress-esque. And then, but I don't remember this being the engine room. Do they change it?
It's an odd angle. So we very, very rarely see it from this angle. Like from here on outwards, you basically have 6 angles that you see the engine room from, and it's not this one. But it is multi-leveled. There is a balcony that goes around the top of the warp core, but it's only really used in a couple of episodes in season 1 and 2.
Probably because watching somebody slowly descend on a lift is really boring.
And also you have turbo lifts.
You know what it feels like? It's like when you get something to build from Lego and it has like the little lift and you just think it's so cool to watch your little Lego character go up and down.
Yes.
It kind of feels like, this is so cool. But
oh man, Lego engine room from the Enterprise D. Gimme. I would love that.
Oh my God.
I'd love that so much. Did you know who the elderly gentleman at the end of the episode was?
Okay, so this was the Bones? Was it Bones?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It's
What?
McCoy. Yeah, well done. Dr.
Really?
McCoy. Yeah. Nailed
Wow.
it.
Guys.
I didn't see any pointy ears on your boy.
So
You
it was
sure
about this
sound like a
time
Vulcan.
I kind of want to go back and watch that scene again because you were talking to tell me when the episode ended and talking
Oh,
over that
right.
scene, and I missed so much, but it felt
Got
like it
it.
was important because it's like, here is a cameo, and we're spending a lot of time here, and this is an
Mhm.
ambassador, and so,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is somebody important, obviously, right? Like, is this an important person? Because they weren't from Farpoint, it wasn't
Yeah.
inside the story. It felt very like external.
Yeah. He's just saying that they just have a little idle chit chat conversation, and he's just like, yeah, it's a new ship, but it's got the right name, and yeah, make sure you look after her because she'll look after you. And then they walk off into the sunset of the corridor.
Yeah, the sunset of the
Little,
corridor.
little passing off of
Of
the
the baton,
baton,
yes.
even though he's in 3 other films after this, or 2 more films, I think. Yeah,
Did
2
you
more
notice?
films after this.
Did you notice that he said Captain's Log supplementary instead of supplemental?
Yeah, they kind of changed that around a little bit. Yeah.
I was like, "What's that?"
What are you doing? Why are you changing the words? I don't change the
You
words.
added more syllables, and you didn't have to do that.
They didn't quite have all of the catchphrases
Of
down
course.
yet. Like, I wondered if "Now hear this" was intended to be a catchphrase that he uses a lot, because he does it twice in this episode, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't catch on afterwards. But yeah, this is before the make it so's and the
Mm-hmm.
engage and whatnot. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
interesting.
it also like other thing that changes over time is their quality of their sound. Like you could almost hear how echoey the room was where they were. Like
Mm,
it just
yeah.
it wasn't quite It wasn't quite there just yet,
Mm.
but that's okay.
Well, any other positives? I've gushed about it.
Mm.
I'm done. I'm ready to sin it.
Let's see. Let's just take a look through the notes.
Do it. Get through those notes. And yeah, just to pause, because I'll cut this out. Apparently Marina is from London, which is weird. I read somewhere she has Liverpudlian roots. English actress. So she was born in Hackney. Where was she raised though? She was brought up in North London, emigrated to the US in 1986. She has nothing Liverpool about her at all. Where did I get that from? That was amazing. That's so great. What about her parents?
What about her grandparents? What about
Yeah.
her great-great-grandparents? What about her best friend? What about her roommate? What about her neighbor?
Okay, so her mother is Greek. John Curtis. Oh, he's Greek as well. Well, okay, there's nothing Liverpool about her. Ah, she's a Liverpool fan. Maybe that's where I got it. She also does a great Liverpool impression in an episode of Star Trek. Yes.
Okay, if I was going to say anything else that I really enjoyed,
Mhm.
and maybe this is a good transition to sins because I'm sure it's also
Mhm.
sinful. The epic moment when Judge Q is revealed down a long dark hallway with a little
Yeah.
spotlight on his face,
Mhm.
and here he comes forward on this really strange sort of like, this has got to be a device that they usually use to change the lighting like 45 feet on
And
the
they just put it on its
soundstage.
side.
And they they just bring it down, cover it in like black boxes. And
Everyone is like on tenterhooks, just like, please don't kill John Delancey. Please don't kill John Delancey.
and they will put like this wooden chair from like a previous
Yeah.
thing. And they just stick it on there, and he's just holding on for dear life.
How
and
safe is this? It's fine. It's totally fine.
And then they add the camera over his shoulder for this dramatic effect, like looking from on
Oh,
high.
I
And it's
love
supposed to be this
it.
super slow drama of him, waving to his patrons down below or whatever. And he's just so
What do you mean
important up
supposed to
there.
be? It is.
And it's just like, And
I
there's just
love that so
there's
much.
some
You know,
guy in
it's
the
so
back
janky.
who's just on this joystick, just sort of controlling him. Like, please God,
This is gonna look great. This is gonna look great. We promise. That's amazing.
yeah.
Okay, with that, let's head over to engineering. For this instance is futile. This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains and remind ourselves that no TV show is without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. Ambassador, you first.
Okay. Well, I don't have any sins for this episode.
Bullshit.
Okay.
If I do, then you do.
There's this moment when they're trying to figure out kind of the complexity of this creature, Q. And so in order to attempt to limit Q's ability to potentially listen in, Picard tells everyone to no longer use communication. And two things happen. In like the following scene, he immediately uses communication, which was annoying, to communicate with the engine room. Like he sends Worf to deliver a message in person rather than over the comms because they're not using comms. But then in the next scene, when they're still not supposed to be using comms, he just says engine room. I need more power. And it's like, you weren't supposed. What are we doing? But
Fuck
so
you.
that's one thing. And two is he instructs everyone to quote, and I might be misunderstanding this, Captain. Use printout only.
Okay, not literal printing out bits of paper because I picture the same thing every time. I picture like
what is that?
the accountant doing the thing where
Just
like the reel of paper comes off.
Can you imagine outfitted
Facts,
in every
everyone.
Yeah, everyone's just like coming out of the walls is just this
Reams of
printed
paper.
material. Yeah.
The
So
poor
what does print only
department. What's
mean?
going on?
What does that mean then?
It's like visual readout, so it's going to be in words on the
Okay.
monitor. But I 100% feel exactly the same. Just just a ton of printers going off everywhere.
The replicators are all just replicating ink on overdrive.
The replicators are just chucking out paper airplanes to everyone.
Reams
Pigeons
of
are
paper
being,
everywhere.
like, beamed everywhere. Like, send the carrier pigeon to deck 12.
They turn the warp core into a paper shredder.
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing,
I understand now.
amazing,
Okay.
Amazing. I love it. My biggest, I'm going to do it straight away. Man, my goodness, do they fucking love the source of separation sequence? I know I spent so long praising it, but they masturbate to this so long, and the sin is they forget it exists, or they just it was either too expensive. They do it on two other occasions outside of one of the Star Trek movies. Geordi does it at some point in season 1 because I think they remembered, we should do this.
We should probably do this again. Yeah.
And they do it in the best of both worlds when they're fighting the Borg. And that's the best use of it because they have a tactic where having two different ships at a time makes sense. They just don't fucking use it. Maybe they were worried that it was going to be the Ex Machina and just use too much. Maybe they wanted the novelty to stay, but it becomes so novel that it's like everybody forgets that it's a thing they can do. So the shame is that we never really see it utilized in cool ways. There's so many times where it's like the ship is at risk, kids, families get off the ship, get to the saucer section, fuck off, star drive, fight. Never done. Whenever they go to the neutral zone to face off with the Romulans, send the star drive, fuck the saucer section off, leave it. Then the Romulans know you mean business because, like, oh shit, they got rid of the kids and the families. They mean business.
Yeah,
it's just forgotten about, and it's such a shame.
Yeah, I don't understand. So I understand the idea of sending the people who shouldn't be on a like a fighter ship to a section that can separate and like go chill out somewhere.
Be safe somewhere. Yeah.
And have nap time and snack time with the children and dance around until they come back. Like I get that. But it makes me think about so many things I shouldn't think about. For example, Q comes and shit goes bad and Picard's like, fuck it, we're gonna separate. Day 1, we're just gonna go ahead and just
do it.
Make sure that everybody's safe. And in a short order of time, everyone is on the saucer section and out. And I'm thinking, how many lifts do they have that can move all of these people from a huge part of the ship to this other part of the ship?
Yeah.
And how important is that? That seems to be important. Or what? I don't know. I guess it's just a big why. Why does
So,
it matter?
a
It
lot
looks
of
cool though. It does.
it does
And
look cool.
I kind of
It's
want a space
awesome.
slug now. So
Not a slug, but I see what you
It
mean.
is a space slug. It looks like a little slug. Like
It
a little bitty critter
doesn't.
that's just kind of like,
No.
oh, look at me. I'm a small little space worm.
I think most of the people are already on the saucer section. I think the evacuation we see is more people than should be on the star drive, because the disc, the saucer section, is huge. That's where your populace like mainly is. Like
yeah.
the star drive is your warp core, engineering, the guts of the ship, the weapons bay, the shuttle bay, the cargo bays. That's what's in the star drive, and the deflector dish,
And-
all of that. There
and-
shouldn't be civilians in the star drive.
And the dolphin section,
Cetacean ops, yep, that's there as well.
that's there.
So
So
we didn't
what's
see any
in the
dolphins getting
saucer
evacuated.
section? No.
Mainly, like, so 10 forward, so the messel, the recreational stuff, the bridge. It's where the bulk of the 1,000 people live on the ship. The school, the nursery, bizarrely, sick bay isn't. Sick bay is in the star drive. But yeah, it's the habitat place. It's where most of them live.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, okay. Sure. Cool.
I don't know. If you need
It-
to
it just-
separate the ship, it means you probably shouldn't have families on there in the first place.
And also, it seems to me that the saucer section is usually the one that's getting battered by the fire when they do stay together.
Yeah,
Like
'cause
they
it's in the
don't
front.
actually
Uh-huh.
batter the part that's the warship part. They batter the part where all the families are. So it's like, hey, come on board this exploration ship that's also a warship, and put your family right at the front of the danger. Anyway.
Yep, totally.
Do
100
they
shouldn't
ever
be
use the
families
battle
on that
bridge
ship.
again though? Do they use the battle bridge ever?
Yeah, they use it in the 2 other times. No, just the 1 other time, I think. They definitely use it for the best of both worlds. I don't think it gets
Okay.
used other than that. Because the only
Interesting.
time you need to use the battle bridge is when you don't have the bridge
right.
bridge.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's just wasted space.
hmm
Somebody someday is going to rethink the efficiency of all starships and be like, you know what? If the entire bridge can fit into a closet, why do we have
Why do we
an
have so
entire
much
floor
space?
for it? Yeah.
I love the super reclining ops positions where like Data gets into his seat and he's like fully reclined. But Gene Roddenberry always said he wanted this to be comfortable. Like this was going to be space travel in comfort. That's why they went with like super reclined. It just looked a bit weird.
Yeah. I'm gonna send the annoying as fuck bell that just kept being rung during this whole trial situation.
Yeah. It
There's-
just put you on edge.
There's this recurring thing. So like they go to red alert and Captain Picard is so annoyed at a very important alarm that he says, quit that shit. And they turn the alarm off, which was stupid. Then when they get into the battle bridge, there's another annoying alarm that he ignores rather than get annoyed by it. And then they go to trial and there's this bell that just keeps getting rung. And it's a bell that is akin to a bell that's on the front of a cow walking through a field. You know, it's just like,
ding dong, ding dong.
so clearly, I mean, and the whole scene was just probably lasted 42 minutes long, that particular scene of just people in stands wearing interesting costumes, booing, screaming, reacting, whatever. And it was just like, wow, this is a lot, guys. This is a lot.
This is a lot.
I have a 5.5-year-old. She's been home every day almost this week because of the weather. And she's a lot, you know. She needs a lot of attention.
Kids.
She needs a lot of things to like
Ding.
focus on. It was like 50 5.5-year-olds in this scene that would not
Yeah.
stop. And I just wanted it. I wanted to fast forward and be like, okay, I don't need to see this. And you know what? I think I could have fast forwarded that scene and not missed much.
No,
So-
I agree. It is really obnoxious.
It was an
I get
obnoxious scene. Yeah.
It's the my least favorite part for sure.
Mhm.
However, you do get the iconic Q robes. I do.
You do
love
get
the
up.
Q
Yeah, you
robes.
have to have that scene.
They're
And you
incredible.
get the cool machine that brings him out that he was glued to. So.
the sideways cherry picker. Yep.
Mhm.
This was just a funny thing that I've always thought was weird. So good old Miles O'Brien is on the battle bridge, and I love
Yeah,
that
he
he's there
is.
from episode 1. Like,
But he
just
doesn't go back in time.
no, he doesn't get picked up for it. They decided he was going to be a side character. What's interesting is when they return to the bridge, and he's the battle bridge, and Data's like, "What's our course and heading?" And he's like, "En route to Farpoint, like it always has been. What are you asking, Miles? Why are you on the battle bridge and not on the actual bridge then? Like, does he not think it's strange that he started
I
on the main bridge and moved down there?
I thought
Like,
he came down with
what?
them, didn't he?
No, he did, but he's acting like they've always been on course to Farpoint, and there was no disruption because they haven't.
Yeah.
They did an about turn. They did a 180 to run
Right.
away from the orb, and
Right.
he's just like,
The
the
marble.
course never
Mhm.
changed. What happened? I was like, what do you mean what happened? You're on the battle bridge, dude.
I interpreted that differently. I interpreted it like he went to the battle bridge and Q just kind of messed with his mind and was like, "Yeah, this is just normal." And so he was
I
just
mean,
impacted, but he didn't actually go into the past with them, so he wasn't fully in on the gig or whatever.
yeah. It seems weird that he doesn't question why he's on the battle bridge
Yeah.
for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Q
Okay.
thing. Q can just fuck with him. He can just
It's
change
one of
his
those
memories.
that would be hard to write into a script when it's Q ding, just like that's Q.
Yeah, and here's a sin for Q being able for all of the answers being Q did it.
I would sin the moment again in the judge's situation where he's like demanding that Picard quote read the full disclosure of human ugliness
Mm.
and hands over a little thing and Picard is able to read the full disclosure of humanity's ugliness in about 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he's
Fine.
like, nah.
Not us.
And I thought that was going to be a little bit more. That seemed to be the most important part is Picard reconciling with all of this humanity's ugliness. But if it was just something he read in 12 seconds, like what did he read? I want to know what that was. Or maybe it was like a moment in time and he goes, no, that's not, I'm going to reject that. So it wasn't all of it. It was maybe like a bad rugby day or something. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
strange. I didn't like that.
No, I agree. I don't disagree with you at all.
He's like, I see no charges against us, Your Honor. And that whole, it was like watching people that think that they know how to do law. They
Yeah.
just don't.
And you should have
yeah.
had this ahead of time if it was really. It's a bullshit trial they shouldn't even be playing along with.
Yeah.
We would sin the heck out of this. Chris would eviscerate this scene. It's the Riker catch-up video that
Oh
you've
my God.
you've got all of the cameras, and then someone edited it together for you as well.
Oh my God.
You have an onboard video editor and all of the cameras. It's
was so bad.
funny. It's so
It
bad
was
because you're
so
just
bad.
replaying the episode. It's so lazy.
It was a previously on inside of an episode.
Yes, seconds
From
after it all
something-
happened.
Yes. And it's like, I don't think I needed to see this again, but maybe you think that I did. And they didn't even show or have in the report that Picard and Troy and Data and dead now lady
Tasha?
went to this trial and were mind captured and teleported away.
Yeah.
That was complete. That's a pretty important part because
Yeah.
So okay, great. You know, our ship has had an alien come and attack us. That's just maybe every Friday for Starfleet. Who knows?
Mhm.
But the fact that we are on a time crunch to prove ourselves or be killed in trial is completely left out of that briefing.
Yeah.
And why go through the theatrics of welcoming him on the bridge to have him sit down and watch TV and then immediately depart? It's such a weird
It's so
scene.
strange. It's a weird power play thing. And the scene is just wasteful because I would have been fine if Riker walked into Picard's office and said, Tasha got me caught up. Wow, that was weird. Done. That's it. The security
Yeah.
chief briefed the first officer.
In
Fine.
the lift
I
on
don't
the
care
way.
how he did it, how she did it. That's fine. It's
Modernly-
why are we doing this?
Modernly, it would be a new officer is coming onto coming onto a ship. They would be met by the officer who would hand them a tablet, and on the walk, they would just start getting caught up. That's how
Yeah.
that would be done.
Yeah,
But this was a very
exactly.
dramatic way,
No,
and it
sit
was
down at the TV.
he did he
We
turned and he
prepared.
kind of looked at the camera and he was like, he calls this a little adventure, and I don't think that the way he turns looks at the camera confused as if he's absorbing information.
Yeah.
None of them know what a Q is. So it's
No.
not like that was explained in what we saw him watching either. So to him, it's like, so somebody beamed on board, dressed as many characters, and then pieced out. Like, I don't understand why
I
this
still
is
don't know
important.
what happened. Did
Yeah.
the editor do this? Did the editor make him change costumes?
Also, do I need to sign a waiver to be videoed all the time? Because this is
Right?
a camera angle after camera angle after camera angle.
So many cinematic
very-
camera
oh, yeah.
angles. So many close-ups. It's so good.
Mhm.
I love it when they put those in-universe videos in. It was like, oh, who made this? Who made this
Mhm.
video?
Oh, that's cute. I would send again in the judge scene, where it's like, stand before the judge, and they sit down, and then it's like, sit down, and they stand up. There's just this like, okay, we're clearly just playing around with various levels of like respect and rebellion,
Yeah.
and I'm just
Fuck you,
confused
what
about.
do you tell me?
Yeah. So I think I would try to send that. That
Yeah.
was kind of annoying.
It's interesting. I just have like a logistical thing, and it's just because Q can do it. But why does Q need to be a Q orb and chase them? Like he can be anywhere, everywhere, all
marble.
at once.
Q
Q
marble,
marble.
yeah.
Like I guess it's just because he enjoys chasing and whatever. But it seems like a waste of energy. And the bigger thing on the Enterprise's side is, like you said, it's chasing them at warp 9.8. It's going to overtake them. But yet what we see happen next is the ship separates, the saucer runs away,
Yep.
the star drive turns around,
Yeah.
and then Deanna is like, oh, the orb's going to be here in 5 minutes. What do you mean it's going to be here in 5 minutes?
I thought that maybe it was going to take a long time to overtake, but they like zoomed in on it, so we were seeing it
maybe
like objects in the
but-
mirror appear closer than they are, kind of a deal.
Yeah. It still felt a bit wonky. I was like, oh, you had a much bigger
Yeah.
leap than I thought you did.
Yeah. 5 minutes
Yeah.
is quite a lot in space, apparently.
Yeah.
And then they launch all those torpedoes, which does nothing.
Yep. Oh no, it blinds them. It blinds the orb. It blinds the omnipotent being
That's right.
so that he can't detect where the saucer section is
Ding, ding,
going,
ding.
is the idea.
Oh, okay.
Really, we just wanted to fire some torpedoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, this ship separates and can shoot torpedoes.
Right from its ass. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well-
The easy one is sending the
Mm.
apples. Easy.
Oh yeah, just
know,
eating an apple. Yeah.
Super on brand. No, he's like, he asked
Mhm.
for an apple. So I see it going in my head where it'd be like, Riker says, do you have an apple? And we would go, uh-oh, looks like we're going to get
Uh-oh.
to sin. And then the guy's like, we don't have one. And then we would go, ah. And then they appear and be like, yay! And ding, 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 you know.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of like a little push-pull of
Are we
excitement.
gonna,
Like,
again,
are we gonna sit? Are we not gonna
yeah,
sit? Are we
it
gonna
takes
sit?
a
Are we not gonna
bite,
sit?
and there we go. Ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
Amazing.
Mhm.
What else have I got? I don't really have anything too much else.
Okay,
I think
I've
we've
got
had a
some
good,
more.
good little
I got a
discussion
couple
about it.
more.
Hit me.
I got a couple
hit me.
more, yeah.
Go with it. I'll shoot them down.
I think one of them that you won't shoot down and will make you really awkward, so I'll definitely go with this one,
Oh no.
is when we're introduced to Crusher and Wesley.
Oh no. Fair enough. Yeah.
Cru-
Okay. Next thing.
Crusher,
Move on.
Crusher is, walking and Riker is there. And Wesley, and this is something that I would ding for just these subtle ways that writing subverts and asks a woman to be apologetic of her nature.
Uh-huh.
Because
Exactly.
Wesley apologizes to Crusher on behalf of his mother for quote unquote not being unfriendly. She's just shy around men she doesn't know.
What a dick.
And
Whoever
the-
wrote that is a dick. Wesley's a dick. Yeah.
So, and what's frustrating about that is the idea that we want to have a strong female lead, an unapologetic doctor that's very well respected and educated. But the first line of her not engaging with a pretty much complete stranger is
Mm-hmm.
to apologize for her not being nice. And it's really
So not
interesting.
smiling.
The older that I get, when I see stuff like that, knowing that that's the kind of shit that gets into your head
Yeah.
and has made me personally, and this is not just from media, it's family expectations and just ways that adults speak to children, specifically girls, to smile and be nice and be
Uh-huh.
kind. And we're
You look
supposed to
prettier
be
when you smile.
very concerned about how other people feel about our behavior. And so
Mm-hmm.
what it turns into is a very confusing situation down the line when you're a direct person or you're confident or you have authority and you unapologetically express that authority or that opinion or that strength. And people around you are like, shouldn't you be apologizing for making me uncomfortable in your confidence?
Mm.
And it's such bullshit. And it made me cringe pretty hard. But at the same time, it's like, this is kind of what was usually sort of shown in these
Yeah.
kinds of instances. And I just wanted to point it out because it's one of those really subtle ways that you subvert a person, because it doesn't have to just be women. It's just been done to women, but
Mm-hmm.
it subverts a character and it subverts a person to apologize on their behalf. To give that line to a child who is a male
Ugh.
is even
Yeah.
more fucked up. Like that somehow Wesley feels that it's his responsibility to speak on behalf of his parent, to apologize to to person in command.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just super casual about it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is probably something that I should feel sorry for. But guess what? She just moves on because it's just this weird line that seems super out of
Yeah.
place.
It's always made me feel a bit icky.
And I think the idea is that, in media or in what we're consuming, strong female leads are uncomfortable to watch at this time. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's not the power shift of boldly putting queer people in the lead or a woman in the lead, that is not something that is comfortable. So we're kind of watching them play around with it and also apologize for it. And
Yeah.
I wish that they would just do it. Now in Strange New Worlds, I'm so excited to see the female characters because
Yes.
they're just like, this is who I am. And I am thrilled by it. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that the franchise is growing with our society. And it's like, it's just an interesting thought process to go back in time and see like what's acceptable. And,
Yeah. The
and to
80s.
continue on my quick rant, which is not quick at all, our job is to watch movies and content. And there are many times when I'll watch an older film, like I remember watching Romancing the Stone, for example, and just being like, holy shit, this is the expectation of what was considered normal. And I know you're watching one right now that you and I have had conversations about, Ian, where there's just stuff happening on screen that you're like, this is icky,
And he's the hero. Like the person that's doing the icky things is the protagonist. And I'm like, can we just not? Like,
Yeah, you
it's
should take
so
off your glasses.
frustrating.
You'd be more pretty. And then they
Right? It's my
do. And it's
biggest
just,
trope. Oh,
God
I hate
damn.
it.
So anyways, it brushes
Yeah.
that line for me. But
No, I totally agree.
yeah, so that's that's
It's a
definitely one
great
for me.
point.
A more humorous one in that moment is that when Wesley is like, "Oh, Picard," or the Crusher's like, "Picard," and Riker says like, "Oh, Captain Jean-Luc Picard," and Wesley just turns around. He's like,
He delivered my dad's dead body.
and he's smiling. I'm just like, "Good God."
Death position. Yeah, that's
Holy
a squeeze that
shit.
exposition in there.
What a very casual approach you have to talking about that moment in your
Right?
life, child.
My
Okay.
goodness. Also, Riker, do your research. The chief medical officer has a connection to Picard. I'm sure that's on record somewhere. Like,
I
that was
mean-
for the audience.
It is, and it's also to let us know that Wesley's dad is dead.
Yeah.
And okay, now I know that. But thinking about like a child just being like, I know Picard because I met him one day when he delivered my dad's dead body. It's like you should be like in the show Wednesday, like
Yes,
you're too. That's really.
Yes, you've delivered that far too many times.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God, it
interesting.
killed me. It killed me.
What a conversation ender. I wish I'd picked up on the Beverly Sin. That's a great point. I think No, I think that's it. I don't think I have any other big ones. I think there's more to come in part 2, obviously. But do you have any
Yeah.
others?
No, I think it's okay. I mean, I think I'm okay with Riker's big moment being putting his shit back together, but actually not doing it himself. Like, I think I'm okay
Just
with
giving
that. We
Miles
can move that
and
on.
Geordi instructions. Yeah, or
And
Data.
everyone's so
Yeah.
celebratory of that moment, and I think I'm okay with
Woo!
it.
Look how big Riker's dick is. Like everyone is just like super impressed. It's like, what did he do? What did he actually do? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thank you for listening, everybody. We will be back same time next week. It'll be about 12:30 live on CinemaSins Twitch and on YouTube Live if you want to join us. And we've had a very active chat that has been criticizing my knowledge of Deanna Troy's geography, all kinds of shenanigans going around. Yeah, it's good fun. So next week we will be doing Encounter at Farpoint Part 2, which for those of you in America that are watching it, it starts just after the McCoy speech, after the McCoy introduction with Data. So Q is on the
Appears
view
on
screen.
screen. Yeah.
Worf tries to shoot him but doesn't, and then they do an external shot of the Enterprise. So from that point onwards, or just rewatch the whole damn thing again. Go for
Or
it.
don't. No. Don't.
Or don't.
No.
Or
Oh, you
don't.
know what to
No,
do.
don't.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can do
Yeah.
that. That's
it's fine.
fine.
Yeah. That's fine.
Excellent. Okay. Well, until next week, I'm off to handle a routine maneuver fairly well.
And it's be careful. This is not an illusion or a dream from me.
Or is it? Live long and prosper.
Da, 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 da.
Hi,
Holy
everybody.
shit, chat. I'm proud of the sin, so I'm gonna spend points. Farpoint Station creates Riker a bowl of apples that wasn't previously there to make him feel like an asshole, to make discount Mark Rylance look like an asshole, and to be an asshole itself. The asshole trifecta.
Nice.
Love
Discount
that.
Mark Rylance. I'm going to have to think on that one. I've never seen him that way. That's interesting.
Jagged asked us long ago, do this episode where Ian does the entire episode in an American accent and Danae does a British accent, and then make that a channel point. Oh my
Just
God,
don't.
where we had to
It would
change our
be
accents.
so
Chaos.
distracting. And I don't know if I could do it the whole episode.
I don't know if I could do it the whole episode either.
Oh, you could. You'll be fine.
I don't think so.
I think I would struggle. I'll fall into Foghorn Leghorn far too easily.
That's right. Your American accent is like a Southern hillbilly.
Yeah,
accent.
that's all I can
And
muster.
mine is a posh British accent.
I would love to be able to do accents better, but it devolves into that or hey, forget about it. Like that's all I can
And
do.
that's all you can say too, is just forget about it.
Are you from Liverpool?
That's right.
Amazing.
Ian, do you have an answer for why Picard addresses Troy as commander in part 1, but Riker calls her lieutenant in part 2?
I do. This always bugged me when I was growing up, and it's because she is technically a lieutenant commander, and the correct
What
way.
the fuck?
The correct way. So you have ensign, lieutenant, and lieutenant junior grade, then like lieutenant senior grade, and then there's lieutenant commander, and then there's commander. So she is lieutenant commander, and the correct way to address a lieutenant commander is by commander, not lieutenant. It's something they get wrong with Data because there's a couple of episodes where he gets called lieutenant, and they should be calling him commander. And that's the answer to that. So in fact, calling her lieutenant was incorrect.
Here's someone. Here's something. Here's a comment. Here's something. Here's a comment of something from Zinc. Originally, the whole Q plot wasn't even there. What? They shoehorned in a whole other story to make it into a 2-part pilot.
Yeah, they wanted it to be.
More dramatic.
That was on the edge of my memory. That it was just the Groplazorn Farpoint stuff, and they wanted to make it longer. So yeah, they did the Q stuff after the fact.
Wow.
Which I think is why like Riker isn't there for a lot of it. Who can we get back to record the Q stuff?
Yeah, that makes sense, I suppose, especially from like an internal perspective. It'd be like, we need to do a quick catch up because we actually just added this in. But when you're watching it, you don't need it added back in because it just happened. So maybe they were like really concerned that people would know. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of it's a Marvel show, and it's Captain Marvel passing on his powers to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh,
No,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Is that right? Falcon.
Yeah, correct.
So they made that one, and then the pandemic happened, and their main storyline was about a pandemic, and they felt like it was just too much similarity and it would be too
Yeah,
triggering.
they had to.
So they totally redid it. Then they introduced something else, and so it felt really disjointed at parts because
Yeah,
they were
correct.
using some of what they could from the first round mixed in with what their new plot was, and it just some of it didn't make sense and didn't feel like it fit. So that's interesting because to me it feels like it was disjointed. I wish the Q plot was a little bit more tied to Farpoint, but I haven't watched the Farpoint part to see, oh, it's like a trial or a test of their humanity. So it might all pay off. I'll have to watch the next one to see.
Oh, sorry.
Because I
didn't mean to
had
do that.
time last week, I watched 90-minute Encounter at Farpoint, all the TNG Q episodes via Best of Both Worlds and Thine Own Self, finishing with All Good Things, and I loved them all.
Nice. That's an awesome run of episodes. Thine Own Self is really, really fun. That's a
That's
good data
commitment.
episode. I like that. I've got a quick follow-up from Nick. I thought Deanna didn't achieve the rank of Lieutenant Commander until she took the test to kill Geordie and command the ship. That's where she gets the command promotion. So she's actually a commander
Sorry, did you just say
after
kill
that point.
Geordie? I'm sorry.
Long story.
Okay.
We'll get to that episode at some
Don't
point.
touch Geordie because I'll fucking freak out. Okay.
She will. You thought she got mad at Data.
Jagged says, I love how Picard commands Riker to manually dock the ship, and Riker proceeds to have Data and TNG's Miles Edward O'Brien do it.
The hero of Setlick 3.
Jesus. I also didn't like that part. Also says, I was always so confused as to why they kept calling O'Brien Com. It was Com.
Take the
I
con.
thought it was his name.
Take the
Mhm.
con. Con?
Take the Com? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Can any other ship separate like that? Asks Link.
Yeah, a few of them can actually. I think in theory Voyager was supposed to, but didn't. The Prometheus. Oh, which?
Eh.
The Prometheus can separate. It's what's the someone's gonna. It has a name when it separates. It's the multi-vector attack mode or something like that. And it actually separates into 3 different ships.
Whoa.
So the bottom comes out, the top disappears, and then there's a middle battleship. And multi-vector assault mode, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, the Prometheus can as well. So yeah,
What about the Derpa Prize? Does it?
fuck you.
Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. I love you guys. Okay.
Crumble.
Oops, that one. Those Betazoid contacts are great, but they were used in a super creepy way on Suitor in Voyager.
Suda. Yeah. So Suda was a serial killer.
Jesus.
It's a great underused
Is he a Betazoid
character.
serial killer?
He's a Betazoid serial killer.
Jesus, that's so scary.
It's fucking terrifying.
Wait, like a full Betazoid or part like
Oh, you're
or part
asking
human?
now. No, I think he's full Betazoid, and he's
I
part
ask because that
go
means
on.
he has like powers, like he can read minds and stuff, right?
So Betazoids have different levels of like psychic awareness. So Deanna's mum is like
Top level.
tier, tons of powers,
Hugely
and
powerful.
it varies everywhere. Suda gets driven mad by his powers, and it's so good. And like him and
Oh my
Tuvok have this
God.
face off,
What?
and it's so good.
Oh
Like,
my
there's a
God, I
good
want to
few
see that.
episodes.
I want to see
It's
that. Can
great.
you watch that
And
one? I want to see that one.
His dead black eyes are just fucking
Okay.
creepy.
So growing up, I watched this. My dad would very often turn on one of the channels that was like a sci-fi stuff, and it regularly played really old sci-fi films, like
Mhm.
Flash Gordon. And one day it was playing this one, which I now know is called Krull. Did you ever see this?
No,
Okay, I watched this way too young.
I believe you.
Way too young. There's some things that I'm like, I don't think that my parents were paying attention to what was on the TV when I was little.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
So Krull is kind of like the quintessential adventure of like a traveling group of adventurists, right? And the bad guy can possess people maybe, and it turns their eyes totally black.
Mm.
And I was very, very, very young, and I watched this, and it scared the ever-living fucking shit out of me.
Fuck yeah.
And so growing up for a long time, if I saw black eyes in any content, I would feel myself starting to have a panic attack. So I've been
You
able
would
to
not
work
have
on that.
liked the Beta Zeds, the Beta
I've been able
Zoids in
to
this.
work on it. Well, it seems like if there's white, it's fine. Like if it's just
Oh,
black,
yeah, got you.
but it's the
got
whole entire, the white is gone, everything is gone.
Yeah.
And
Fucking
that's
creepy shit.
it's still, I can't really like engage with it very much. But as long as it's not black eyes like that, and they're,
Mhm.
if there's white, I should be fine. But if it's
Okay.
fully black eyes, I might skip.
Freak the fuck out. Skip.
Or I'll just have to kind of like, okay,
No,
think
there
about
is-
something else today. Think about something else.
there's
So,
some whites in his eyes, but he's pretty yeah, he's pretty fucking spooky.
he is spooky. Do you guys remember Kroll? Did you ever see Kroll? Yeah, it was early Liam Neeson. Yeah. You're right. Yep. Crazy. Okay.
Next
I feel like season 1Q is so different from season 2Q. Once he shows them the Borg, he is quite different in demeanor compared to the first couple of episodes that he's in. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same with everybody on the damn ship at the minute. Like, they were trying to figure out who this character of Q was, and he becomes way more playful later on. And it's really interesting that they make him more of an outcast. Like, the rest of the Q are embarrassed by him, and they're fed up of his shenanigans. And he doesn't speak on behalf of the Q the way that he always claims that he does. So the direction they take Q after this is really, really, really interesting. I don't know that it's inconsistent. I think he just hadn't got there yet. But I love him. He's my favorite. He's my boy.
Yeah, my boy.
Like,
Is there
them
just
hitting him to the Borg is really fucked up. Like, it's really fucked up.
are there more than one Q?
Yeah, there's a whole race of Qs. So they were just like a regular humanoid species, and they eventually evolved to a point of not needing physical corporeal form, and they live in like a parallel dimension kind of thing as energy beings. And there are many Qs, lots of them.
There you go.
But
Now
I
you
think
know,
we only
Link.
meet 3.
Jagged says, I love how it's yada over how McCoy was on the ship the whole time during the
Yeah.
separation and the Q encounter.
You're coming with us.
It's like, we need you to hustle in
Yeah.
your walker to this
You're
other
gonna-
part of the ship.
You've had weeks to do these medical bay checks, but no, we're gonna carry on with them right now because we need the cameo.
What is your favorite alien species?
Oh man, this is hard.
I like the Betazoids. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I love the Betazoids. I think it's the Vulcans. They're the most interesting. Vulcans and the Romulans as a pairing are my favorites. I love that. But then the Borg as well. The Borg is so interesting.
Yeah,
Ugh.
the Borg are really interesting.
The aliens are so good. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm. I really like this comment too earlier from Slab. Baby Slab and I busted out laughing watching the park. Picard brought my dad's dead body back home.
You are sick,
weird.
people. You are sick. Okay? Sick
It's
people.
so weird. All right, you want to pick the next question?
Yeah, weird that I've never noticed the eyes before. Yeah, it's something that I only noticed a couple years ago. Is well, I read an article that said, I think it's a really nice touch that they do this, and now you can't unsee it. Every Betazoid that you see on screen has the completely black. No, I read it in a book because a character is meeting a Betazoid, and they're just like, I knew they were Betazoid immediately because of the characteristic completely black pupilless eyes, and I went, wait, what? And now whenever I go back to an episode, Deanna, her mum, there's another Betazoid she meets, Suda, they all have the black eyes. And I was like, that's such a cool touch that is easy to miss.
Jacket says they trashed the battle bridge set so early and never bothered to rebuild it, and it became the Klingon Bird of Prey bridge.
Oh, interesting. I
thought
did not
it looked
know that.
familiar.
That's cool.
But I don't trust. I mean, I should trust myself because I have, like
Weird
the mind is
feelings.
an amazing thing that just like pulls stuff out of nowhere sometimes. but it did look familiar. But I don't remember it being in the show. That makes total sense.
Mm.
What cool stuff that you guys know? What?
Thanks, Nick. I did not know that.
I want
Sarah says,
today to see Loxana.
To see. Sorry, I misread that as say. I just thought she wanted to hear you say Loxana.
Loxana, listen, she's fucking badass. I love her.
We should do a run of her episodes.
Well, you did show me that one episode of
Menage
when
a Troy.
she and her daughter are kidnapped, and then they're like made to be naked, and then Riker has to play chess to get free, and she seduces a ear guy.
Ferengi, yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
That was ahead of our Fred Brunson interview.
Yeah. Here's one from Zinkstone. According to Will Wheaton, LeVar would regularly nod off behind his visor, sat in those chairs during long takes. Why not?
That's amazing. Yeah, why
you can
not?
Sit up. Why wouldn't you?
Well, because he was leaning back, wasn't he? Like in the super reclined ones. He's leant back. He's got a visor over his eyes. He's there for 6 hours. Peace out.
Like your mouth just slowly opens and you start to drool a little bit.
Amazing.
Here's the last one we'll do for the day, and then we'll log off for now and see you guys next week. Here's from Michael Sullivan, who asks, if either one of you could send a movie of your choice, what would it be?
Ooh.
I think I'd do Splash.
Yeah,
it's just
movie.
It's such a wacky movie.
Uh-huh.
It's been so long since I've seen it. It's where my obsession with mermaids began.
Yeah.
Obviously. And there just has to be fun to go in there and just be like, this is fucking stupid.
It is. Yeah. No, completely. Now, it's one of those I'm amazed we haven't done yet. I don't know if we've done this, but I would love to do Evolution. Evolution. It's a David Duchovny film from like 2002 or something. And I love it. It's bad. It's dated poorly. And I love it. It's great. I would love to see that movie.
Amazing.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah,
we love you.
Thanks for hanging
Y'all
out.
the best.
We are going to raid today, so if you guys can hang out for just a second. Classy Pax is playing a game that I kind of want to eventually play on this channel with the team. So I'm going to send you to Classy Pax today because he's playing Project Zomboid. And if you guys don't know about that game, it's very like, I don't know, old school sort of looking in all the graphics, and you have this little avatar and you're trying to essentially get around in a neighborhood and loot items for survival, educate yourself so that you can learn things like lock picking and starting cars and figuring out survival skills while being quiet and not attracting zombies. And you can play them with your friends. So you guys can like get together and try to survive. It's pretty complex. I've actually got this downloaded on my computer and I've tried to play it once and did terribly, but I was able to hang out with my friends in the game and that was a lot of fun. So they had to come pick me up in a car, and the car chase that they had to get into just to come pick me up was pretty epic. And at the very least, if we do get to play this as a teams with you guys sometime live on Twitch, I think it would be fucking hilarious. So Classy Pax is playing that, and of course watching Classy is just always fun. So we're going to send you guys to Classy Pax. So please say hi to Classy. And next week, keep watching our schedule because Chris has been playing Last of Us on Twitch every Monday for the past couple weeks, and he's been enjoying it. You guys have been enjoying it. So we'll know more about this coming Monday soon, but you can just watch our schedule here on Twitch, or you can watch for updates on Twitter. We also put that on Discord, so you can watch our stuff there. I'll pop up the Discord information real quick for you, just in case you don't know how to get there. And then next week should be a normal week for our streaming. We'll see you guys on Recotopia on Tuesday, and we'll be back here for Captain's Pod on Friday.
Yeah, we will.
Captain Ian?
No, we will Mario Kart at some point.
We would love to. Yes, we will be soon. So we're like in a big push before we go to Sin Week next month, and so it's a little bit tricky, but we are doing our best to get into a schedule for some video games. And I guess I'll just say this before you guys go. On a personal note, I will be streaming tonight on my own channel which is Danae Says, DENEESAYS. And I will be streaming my role play on the game Red Dead Redemption 2. So if you guys want to check me out later, I'll probably be on around 6:30, possibly a little bit before that. We'll see. So we'll see you guys next week for this show. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.